I'm Oakland's Mayor Libby Schaaf with Oakland Stories, a series about the people and issues that Oaklanders care about. Today, I have an amazing guest, James Syhabout. He is the famous chef of Commis and other award-winning restaurants right here in Oakland. But a lot of people don't know his Oakland story. So I'm very excited to be talking to someone today who maybe wasn't born in Oakland, but has a very Oakland story. Now, James, I know that you immigrated to Oakland as a refugee with your family when you were just 2 years old. Tell me about what it was like growing up, coming here without speaking the language, and particularly from parents that came from the countryside and had to make a whole new home and life in Oakland, California.
Yeah, so we arrived in Oakland from Laos as refugees, given asylum from the Vietnam War. We arrived here in 81. I was 2 years old.
Just two?
Just two, yeah. We landed on 25th and Telegraph, Kono now. It's called, and the Lao community settled in with a social worker. And I just remember my parents being from the countryside, raising water buffaloes in rice fields, to a place with billboards and freeways and asphalt and, lights. And we live across the street from Sears. And living across the street from a department store, nonetheless, was like a big cultural change, not knowing the language. At the same time, it was very exhilarating.
Well, and as you were growing up, I understand your mom worked in a Thai restaurant. So that was possibly your introduction to food, but at the same time, your family used food stamps, which also limited your food choices. So how did those early years influence your relationship with food and possibly steer you in the direction you've gone?
That's a wonderful question. I have a great story about that. So growing up, my mom didn't work right away. She was wanted to learn English, go to school. My dad became a neighborhood mechanic, fixing automobiles in the dirt lot next to the apartment building we live in. And then my mom eventually got a job at a Thai restaurant in Berkeley. And every day we'd go pick up my mother. And that's my first exposure to a commercial kitchen. Everything about it was so stimulating. Noise, smells, people, productions, flames coming out of the wok. I don't see this stuff at home. And my mom cooked a lot at home as well. And, the curiosity of a young child with ooh, fire, sharp knives, the things that little boys like to do, right? And, it was always surrounded by food. Our culture was always about food. Every time we get together, it was all around food. And fast forwarding, parents decided to chase the American dream and, became self-employed and opened a Thai restaurant, and I spent my summers cooking, and that's where I really got into it. It's very sensual to me. Everything was very stimulating. You see food, you hear it, you taste it, you feel it. And it was like playing, instead of a play kitchen, I had a real kitchen to play in. I just remember cutting myself really bad with a knife, and I was like, ouch, first time I ever saw blood. This is kind of scary. But, I kept on doing it. So that's why my first love affair was food. And I just liked it. My mom was like, really? And I was eating all spicy food, bitterness, all the traditional foods she thought I wouldn't like. And creatively enough, grew up on food stamps and government assistance, we were limited to what we could buy. So it was my first experience with American food. Hot dogs and bologna and cheese and yogurt. My parents.
Did you eat Spam?
Yeah, I love Spam. I like Spam now, actually. But that was my first exposure to American food and, dairy. Both my parents were lactose intolerant, and I was fine, so milk, ice cream, yogurt was a new thing for us. It was just how to get creative with it. Sometimes we by necessity, created fusion cuisine. It's like, Mom, hey, let's chop up this Tiger Farm sausages and stir fry with some Thai basil and some Thai chilies.
That food stamp fusion?
Yeah. We had to decide to make it work, and that's kind of It's kind of out of necessity, but also somewhat kind of brilliance about it. It's like, like stretch your creativity, but like, hey, this is what you have to work with. We're going to make it taste good, but also we're going to make it comfortable for us and something that's just familiar, also with a little bit of new.
Yeah, well, that sounds very Oakland. I think a lot of creativity comes out of our scrappiness.
Oh yeah, for sure.
As you know, I've been very unapologetic about Oakland being a sanctuary city. Mm-hmm. How did you feel the city did or did not welcome, your culture, your family?
I think the welcoming was great because there was a community. It was like a strong Lao community on 25th and Telegraph, like the whole block. You had the same story, but coming from different parts of Thailand, different parts of Laos. So we kind of felt at home. Everyone had each other. We built a little village. We bartered for things. We gave each other inside tips. Bobby mom was a seamstress. She just hemmed everyone's clothes. My mom made, sausages, whatever, to trade with Bobby's mom for services. And so it created a little community. So that was very welcoming. Like social services helped us feel comfortable. It showed us around Chinatown. We're like, oh, it's not a Safeway, which is like lots of bright lights and everything's organized. Chinatown was like, still produce out on the street level. And that's what we're kind of used to, open air markets. So they provided like a sense of comfort. But also, given our surroundings, growing up in Oakland public schools, from elementary through high school, I went to elementary school in Hoover Elementary.
Yeah,
and
still there.
I was still there. And I can remember counts, like, I was probably like one of the other 2 Asian American kids in the whole school. Wow. And it's just like, how do I fit in? It's just like, it's a big social problem. At that age, young age, you don't really aware it until you get into like junior high and then high school, and then it just kind of evolved. But it's just anything. We're scrappy, and you make it happen, and you just try to survive. And and then the more and more I grew up, like celebrate individuality.
Now you went to Oakland Tech. I went to Skyline, so I'll forgive you for going to Tech. But I heard you give a talk about how during your high school years you really fell in love with kind of street art, graffiti style murals, that you actually were an artist yourself.
Yes.
And I believe that's also where you met your wife. So how did your high school experience put you on a path to becoming a world-renowned chef?
Oh, my high school experience was, I knew I wanted to be a chef when I was, I guess, 10 years old, 12 years old. So I was a little ahead of my curve. I remember telling my padilla teacher at Oakland Tech, like, I want to be a chef, I want to be a cook. So after school, went to DeLauer's newsstands, looking at Art Culinary and Gourmet magazine. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. And
very precocious.
Yeah,
high school student.
I remember going after high school, walking down the street on College Avenue to Alameda, and asking if I could volunteer my time just to be a dishwasher. So this could be a fly in the wall. Because it's a lot different from a mom and pop restaurant, the higher end. There's things I pretty much dreamed of and fantasized about watching TV, watching the, great chefs of the world and seeing chefs in like toques and starch white jackets and like copper pots and pans everywhere. I'm like, wow, that's like the big league. It's like the NBA. So, that's where I pursued cooking a little more. And I already had my eyes set on culinary school from then. And then I was just kind of training, just like my curiosities took me to Europe. And so, so on and so forth, just kind of chasing the American dream like my parents did, kind of following their footsteps. Yeah.
But your interest in art and kind of that Oakland style energy. Yeah. Is being a chef, being an artist?
Yes and no. I think we're craftsmen, and, the whole graffiti and hip hop thing, that's like where I was really into pop culture, right? Like I remember like washing pots and pans for $5 a week at my mom's restaurant so I can save up to buy a new pair of Air Jordans. Everybody wanted to listen to like Tribe Called Quest and Ice Cube. So I was like, it was cool. It just celebrated individuality, and the surroundings kind of make sense with graffiti, and it gives us a sense of freedom, confidence to kind of express ourselves. what we're feeling, what we're thinking about, and just kind of translate what's in your head, what's in your heart onto paper, lyrically. So it kind of gives an outlet to like be ourselves and like have like a bit of self-confidence. Like, hey, that's cool. I'm gonna do me on paper. I don't want to be speaking to everybody or on a wall, but everyone's gonna see it. And they can appreciate it or not, but I put myself out there. And I think it's the same thing with cooking. It's like anything in art is very subjective, right? So just having like confidence at a very young age and knowing like it's an art form, like really, really helped me propelled for sure.
And are there other ways that you feel like Oakland expresses itself in your cooking?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, when I opened Commis in 2009, I was like, oh, why can't like this kind of farm-to-table, high-end concept coexist in a place that does have graffiti on walls and potholes? Yes.
I'm working on the potholes. I'm working on them.
I know, thank you. I saw that. That was amazing.
Fair criticism. Really.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, it's like, yeah, it can exist. It's like, if anyone's going to do it, someone's got to do it, right? So it's like, if anyone should do it, it should be me. And I think going in innocently, I was chasing a dream, given the economics and all. And I was like, let's jump in and figure it out along the way, And 10 years later, still here. Yeah.
Well, when we come back, we're going to hear more about how James made this dream come true in the depths of a recession. Thanks for joining us for Oakland Stories.
Did you know that ktop streams live online? That's right, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Visit our live stream today at oaklandca.gov/oakmeeting. ktop, your government access TV station.
Welcome back to Oakland Stories. I'm your mayor, Libby Schaaf, and I'm here with amazing Oaklander James Syhabout. James, you opened Commis, like in the depths of the Oakland recession. In fact, I was laid off in 2009, the year that you decided to open a fancy, high-priced restaurant in none other than your hometown. Why Oakland? Why not San Francisco or LA? And why in 2009?
Yeah, why Oakland? I always wanted to come home. Traveling around the world, working in the South Bay for 5 years, commuting from Oakland, never moved away. Drove all the Los Gatos an hour each way for 5 years. And I just wanted to be home again, be in my comfort zone. In 2009, just my first adult experience for a recession. I didn't even know we were in a recession, kind of. I'm not an economics major, but sometimes, they say like the more, the less you know, the more you're like, courageous you are sometimes. Sometimes you know too much, kind of get cold feet, right? But it was tough. Like finding a restaurant space, it had to be something that's pre-existing. The key money was some big financial commitment. And yeah, I just scrapped it up. Being the Oakland scrappy way, pretty much I took cash advances on 10 credit cards and like, I'm just gonna go for broke, And,
10 credit cards?
Oh yeah, I was really good about doing balance transfers, and OBDC helped as well with a small loan, and had some friends who were also Oaklanders, believed in the project, a little bit of money here, a little money there, and we got our doors open with no sign.
I remember there was no sign.
4 saute pans, and
we're like, could they just not afford a sign, or are they trying to be like mysterious? Is this some like thing in the restaurant world?
No, it was like an extra saute pan or a sign. Like, what's going to be more beneficial for us at this point? So it was a whirlwind, but we had to get creative. I think. Less is more. I have less to work with, and you get more creative. Like, we got to make it happen. We got to make it work. So.
All right. So you have this restaurant with no sign, 10 maxed out credit cards.
Yeah.
You'd been open for just a few months.
Yeah.
And then you had a pretty awesome surprise. For people that don't know what a Michelin star is, like explain it.
The Michelin star, Michelin guide itself, the red book, they call it. It's a coveted, originally in France, as a travel guide for Michelin tires. But this guide, it's...
You mean the guy like the Michelin tire man?
The Michelin tire man, a little marshmallow dude. But yeah, that guide, amongst growing up in the ranks in fine dining kitchens, everyone refers to it has 2 Michelin stars, has 3 Michelin stars. And those were heavily merited in France and in Europe. And the guide came to the United States, I want to say around 2005, 2006, it got all the high-end chefs excited. It's like, oh wow, we actually can be recognized as the chefs I mentored under or chefs I look up to. So it was a big deal. Also for travel, for Europeans coming over to California to eat, where they're going to dine at. They're going to look at the Michelin guide because that's the guide they're used to. So yeah, that guide, I've dined out at these restaurants in Europe and worked at these restaurants, and I wanted to open up one of these places of my own in Oakland for the home do for the town. And surely enough, crazily enough, we achieved our first star in 3 months, which was kind of surreal.
Which came first, the star or the sign?
The star came first in the sign. And then I was like, maybe you don't need the sign. It's maybe we got the star because we don't have the sign. It makes you think. But yeah, it just kind of put an extra win in our sails, and all the hard work, and felt like we're on track to do hey, a fine dining restaurant can exist in Oakland in 2009. Someone recognized us for our excellence, and they're just going to keep on treading that way. Yeah, and 5 years later, after our first one, we got our second.
You are now a 2-star restaurant.
Yeah, 2-star restaurants. Not too many in California. So,
in fact, I believe you're the only one in the whole East Bay. Chez Panisse, we love you, Alice, but Chez Panisse lost its star ratings, and you gained one. So yeah, it's a big, it's a big weight to carry. It's the culinary on the culinary edge and forefront of this growing city. So no, it's exciting, and I think it brings a lot of enthusiasm for the culinary community as well, and for young chefs like myself growing up. It's like wow. It's I'm self-appointed mentor. A lot of chefs hey, I'm from here. I grew up here. I did it. So can you. So hopefully that would inspire others. Yeah. I'm sure it is inspiring a huge new generation of chefs. Now, here you are, Michelin star, and I've looked at the prices at Commis. It is not cheap. It is not every man's restaurant. It's definitely a special occasion restaurant. But after you get your Michelin star, instead of just opening up more high-end, luxury, fancy restaurants, what do? You open hawker fare. Yeah. Talk about why you're bringing excellent food and flavors to the people, to price points that more Oaklanders can afford. And, I remember bringing my little kids to hawker fare and excited to have a really good meal, but something where my kids could order things on the menu. It had a relaxed vibe. So if they were, rolling around on the floor, people didn't seem to mind because they did. So why these other restaurants, and what besides hawker fare have you kind of gifted to Oakland? So
after Commis, we opened hawker fare, and that was kind of a personal reminder of who I am, cooking Lao Thai food. Also a reminder of the neighborhood, because I grew up in that restaurant. And it's hey, this is where I'm rooted in. And I wanted to share it. It had to be accessible. And it was just almost a thank you and an apology letter for myself for saying, hey, I went to fine dining. I did forget, where I'm from, kind of. So the hawker fare opened because of that. And it was also a tribute to my mom. It was her restaurant that, I made her retire, go back to Thailand to live the easy country life again. And then, the ball just kept rolling. We opened, the dock was now called Old Can Beer and Company in the Port of Oakland. And then more casual places. Just wanted there has to be something for everybody, and everyone's mood and different. We have special occasion place. And, I'm not just, as much as I love fine dining, there's a part of me just want to relax and just go there every day. I have 2 children. So like I'm the perfect example of a young family in Oakland. It's like, let's build a place that a family like my family would like to go to on like, a weekly basis. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for staying rooted in Oakland. It really is something for everyone, and you're sharing your talent and your taste with so many people. Now, you had a relationship with the chef and also TV personality, Anthony Bourdain. I know he helped write your book, Hawker Fare. How did you form that relationship? And if you had to guide him through Oakland for one of his travel shows that he was so known for when he was still with us, where would you take him?
It's a great question. And knowing it's a funny story. Like I remember hearing Bourdain's voice in Kitchen Confidential. His first book came out. I was still in Oakland Tech in high school and just reading the book. I'm like, whoa.
Butter and salt. That's what I remember, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, then the shows and, just his very distinct voice and the way he communicates and entertains. And, when I opened Hawker Fare, this idea of a book came from my author friend. And we started, let's do the book, but I don't want to write it. I was like, I'll tell the story, you write it, but I ended up writing it, and I had a co-author with me who was also from Oakland, John Birdsall, who lives in Temescal. So we wrote the book, and we shopped it around, and, Anthony Bourdain took note of it, and he's like, I want to publish your book. And I was like totally taken by shock. I'm like, really? This is awesome. It's kind of surreal. And that's how our relationship formed. We met in person. We traveled to Laos together, shot parts unknown in Laos, getting him know him more and more and like what the show is about. And he's really into like the social aspect of food, not just what's on the plate, not just the weird things he gets to eat. It's not about really, it's less about that. It's more about the culture. And, he makes you understand like food is an introduction to like knowing a culture. And given that notation and travel with him to Laos, if you had to come to Oakland, I was thinking, like, wow, the history of Oakland. That's like, I remember Flint's Barbecue.
I remember Flint's Barbecue.
Yeah.
I heard it's coming back.
Oh, it is.
But that was like the late night after you got out of the club.
Yeah.
You had to go to Flint's.
So, there's all these like great, like what makes a city fantastic, like all those benchmark and anchors of a city. So we had a time travel, we go to the Flint's, maybe talk about a little, Black Panther history, because he's a very big history buff. And actually my first time I ever had barbecue, like American style barbecue, was from my neighbor Harold, who was an ex-Black Panther who lives on 25th and Telegraph. And I just remember like that always kind of stuck to me. So a little bit of that history.
Yeah, this is the 50th anniversary of their free breakfast program.
Oh, wow.
This year.
That's amazing. Yeah. Take him down to Fruitvale, and have some street food there. Take him to mom and pop like Lao restaurants in East Oakland.
Do you have a favorite taco truck?
It changes all the time. It changes all the time. I go to the one near the West Oakland BART station, La Perla, number 2. So I'll take him there. And definitely we had drinks late night at Merchants.
Merchants.
And Van Cleef. Yeah.
Merchants and Van Cleef's.
Yeah,
Merchants
definitely. Greyhounds.
With the trough.
With the trough.
At the bottom of the bar.
With the trough and drink Greyhounds, and
Greyhounds at Van Cleef's with the fresh squeezed
fresh
ruby
squeeze
grapefruits.
Only Van Cleef, Van Cleef was like, wish, Peter was around then. He's such a character. I think those 2 guys would hit it off. And then that would be my Oakland like day, actually. Yeah.
That sounds fun. I'm in. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about the future of Oakland, how James sees how the food culture is impacting our city right now and in the days to come.
What makes Oakland a great place to work?
The community. The community is vibrant. You can just feel the love when you come here.
I love working for the city of Oakland because of its rich diversity. That's a huge reason why I came to work here.
To make a difference in the community that I was raised in and being able to provide the community a nice, fun, safe environment for kids to come play.
In Oakland, we want the best and the brightest who are willing to innovate and ready to serve a diverse community in one of the greatest cities in California. We're looking for everyone from librarians and building inspectors to first responders, while offering competitive pay, pension, and excellent benefits. It's never been a better time to serve your community.
I like working for the City of Oakland because as an auditor, I get to see the inner workings of government. I love hanging out at Lake Merrick, going to the farmers market on the weekends.
One day I could be working with OPD, and the next day I can be working with the mayor's office, and it allows every day to be different and new.
If you're interested in a career with the City of Oakland, please go to Oakland's NeoGov website and apply today. Join our team.
Hi, I'm Oakland's Mayor Libby Schaaf, back with Oakland Stories with superstar chef James Syhabout. James, think about where Oakland is right now. You and your restaurant has kind of put Oakland on the map nationally, internationally. There's a whole new vibe about Oakland right now. Where do you see kind of Oakland's image evolving nationally? And what is at stake? What are you worried about Oakland losing as we gain more popularity with tourists?
Yeah, I think everything's going to get fortified. Oakland's always been a very diverse area. I think fortified in the sense where, like, you know, you see in the restaurant side, a Filipino restaurant's opening up, a Cambodian restaurant's opening up, you know, Puerto Rican. So I feel like those people have always been here, but the cuisine was never public. I think now, like, because the restaurant boom, these foods are available, and like you're more in tune to like getting to know this culture a little bit more. You know, like the first time I ever had like eatery and North African food was here in Oakland. You know, and it's like the best. You know, and it's like eat with your hands. It was like, oh, it's kind of similar to Lao food. This is fun. Like you eat with my hands, no utensils. And I think we're only going to see more of that too, and different takes on it, right? Like, you know, everyone has to come from a different background, especially younger chefs. You know, someone that, like me, went to fine dining, now I want to cook the food they grew up on. And there's going to be a spin, a personal take on, you know, mom's cooking in some ways. It's just natural because, you know, we're craftsmen, we're artists per se. I think the pitfall, downfall of that, I don't want to believe in it. I don't want to be pessimistic. I just hope that there's enough people who want to support these smaller businesses, and hopefully these small businesses be sustainable to keep them going, because that's what makes a great city is like diversity. And it's great to have the people here, but if they're just kind of tied up in their home and the food's not shared, which to me I always think food is like an international language because everyone understands saltiness. Things are sour, things are sweet. You know, it's not going to move the needle as much. So, you know, so I think like the whole fortification of that is fantastic. I just hope we can sustain.
Well, and that gives you the opportunity to give me some advice as the city's mayor. Mm-hmm. What do you think the city, the government, should be doing to really help nurture more of this authentic food scene that reflects Oakland's diversity? And how can we make sure that we're raising and encouraging more James Syhabouts that are fulfilling their dreams and reaching their potential?
I think it comes down to like an economic basis of running a small business, with helping a family like mine growing up, negotiate leases. Like if there had to be some advocacy, because not all of us can afford lawyers, and it's a tricky time with like legality and like things like that. And for a person who's opening their own first business, you just don't know better. And I hate to see like someone fall into a trap, because it's a big commitment. I mean, it takes a lot to open a restaurant. So like aid in that, and also economics of like staffing. I think that's a big one. It's like, how do we keep staff in Oakland so they can work here and can afford to live here? And it has to be self-sustaining. Like, what's the lack of a better term here?
It's expensive to live here.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
really
exactly.
is. It's
exactly.
ridiculous.
It has to be, the economics have to work in full circle. Yeah. It's like, yes, I want to feed you, but I want you to also afford it. but the period of cooking also got to make a living so I can stay here, so I have to travel. You know, it comes around full circle. So I'll just hope like that circle could like connect and like be very, very fluid. Yeah.
Well, one thing I'm excited about that we have done that I don't know if a lot of people know about is our partnership with Kiva. So if you're a small business that needs a loan, check out Kiva, KIVA.org. Interest-free, crowdsourced, don't need a high credit rating. It's often people's first entry to just being able to avoid maxing out 10 credit cards. We don't do that. That's bad. So what is some advice that you have for young people that love cooking and want to get into it as a career?
People advice, learn as much as you can, you know, do whatever it takes to get into the kitchen, being in a good surrounding, learning environment, be assertive. You know, yeah, you start with a dishwasher, but sometimes like that's not a bad thing. You could, you know, be observant. You know, I mean, I was a kid washing wok pans in my mom's mop sink on the floor, but you know, at the same time, I was peeking over. I'm like, what's she doing over there? You know, and just like, hey, mom, can I grab this knife and peel garlic? You know, it's like if you don't ask, you never get the opportunity. So definitely be assertive, put yourself in the right positive learning environment. And curiosity, be a sponge. Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah. A lot of people are worried about where Oakland is going. We have fancy restaurants, we have very high-priced condos getting built. How do you think Oakland is going to hold on to this gritty authenticity as we become the new popular kid, the new Brooklyn, as they say?
Yeah.
How do you think Oaklanders are going to stay true?
I think we got to, you know, really invest in stuff like, you know, I'd love to bring like Festival of the Lake back.
Oh, I love Festival at the Lake. I used to be on the staff of Festival at the Lake.
Yeah, I remember going there. Like I went to Westlake Junior High, so our field trip was going to the Festival of the Lake with the fire trucks and everything. It's like things like that. Like people don't know Oakland, like the new Oaklanders don't know about. I think we should like bring those things back. And I think you're just kind of the Art and Soul Festival is fantastic. So all these little programs like they're community based. That's pretty much for all, social and with people with diverse social and economic equity could enjoy and come together, you know, as one, you know, it's just not so segregated. So, I mean, there are things like that, like the Oktoberfest is amazing. That's really very fun. So as long as we keep those... I think we gotta keep those programs going and like not just be like a flash in the pan, like 1 year it's happening, 1 year it's not, and just kind of loses momentum. I think as long as you keep that momentum going, I think it brings enthusiasm for everybody.
No, the city just put out its cultural plan, and it's all about how the arts and culture are our way of experiencing belonging. So I love how you kind of say that that's also how we have almost like intro to Oakland. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, James, my staff teases me because I constantly talk about Oakland's secret sauce. Do you think Oakland has a secret sauce? And if so, what are its ingredients?
No, I think Oakland's secret sauce is always like, I think it's a moving target. For me, I think that's what keeps it exciting. You just don't know, you know, like you wake up.
It's very secret.
It's super secret. No one knows. No one can decode it because it's such a very multifaceted flavor. It's not something that's absolute. I think that's kind of the beauty of it. You know, it could be one person's flavor is just as respectful as somebody else's flavor, but we all got to be willingness to try each other's flavors. I think that's the secret sauce. And I think we should just all mix it up, you know, make our own, like, you know, mixture. I think that's it, you know, just combine it all. And I'm pretty sure if each part of it tastes delicious, it all comes together.
Listen, it has been wonderful talking to you today. Thank you for just shining a light on Oakland's creativity, our cultural diversity. Thank you for keeping it real and not just being fancy. And thank you for sharing your Oakland story with Oaklanders today.
Yeah.